In this session, we'll be looking at what is a cybercrime, and then we'll be looking at the classification of cybercrimes. After that, we'll be understanding the punishment for cyber criminals according to the cyber laws in India. So I thought that this kind of a session is very important for cybersecurity professionals who are interested in learning ethical hacking techniques, because we should be well aware of the consequences if our actions go wrong. So first we'll start off with the definition of a cybercrime. What is a cybercrime? Cybercrime is a criminal activity that targets a computer or a set of computers connected over a network, or it uses the computer or the computers in the network as a medium to perform any fraud. The another definition is cyber crimes or offenses relating to computers, information technology, internet and virtual reality. So it's a criminal activity that either targets a computer. What do you mean by targeting a computer? Sending viruses, sending worms, or denying the service for authorized personnels. So all these things come under targeting a computer, damaging a computer, disrupting a network. The second category is you can use the computer to perform fraudulent things, say stealing data and performing fraudulent bank transactions, identity theft. All these things come under the second category, using the computer to perform fraud. I also mentioned some kind of cyber crimes here, just a few of them: email spamming, internet fraud, identity theft, stealing financial or card payment data, theft and sale of corporate data. You log in, hack into a corporate database and selling that corporate data in the illegal markets. Cyber extortion, that is blocking a system and demanding money. It's almost similar to ransomware attacks, wherein a system is held under siege and the hacker demands a ransom from the user. Cyber espionage is wherein the hackers get in access to the government's database and they leak confidential information to the public, or else they get hold of certain important crucial government data. So all these things come under cyber crimes. So cyber crime is a criminal activity. According to experts, the damages caused by cyber crimes and by cyber criminals is almost going to be $6 trillion annually by 2021. The damages caused by cyber crimes keep increasing year by year, and it is almost going to reach $6 trillion by 2021. So that emphasizes the need for cybersecurity experts and also the urgency with respect to reviewing the cybersecurity policies in an organization and strengthening our processes and reviewing all the cybersecurity procedures inside an organization. Now let us take a look at some of the cyber crimes and its classification. So I've just given a few here. The very first thing is hacking. We all know what is hacking: unauthorized access into a system and altering the system or altering the data inside the system. And this is purely unauthorized without the permission from the owners of the system. So that is hacking. The second kind of cybercrime is identity theft. So what is identity theft? Say as the Professor Satish, I have my own identity, like I have my Aadhaar card, my voter ID, my driving license, my own debit card, credit card, and all this information can be stolen. My identity itself can be stolen. And what is that they are going to do with this identity is, maybe we can use the identity to apply for passports, to apply for bank loans. Say you as a person, you may not be even aware of someone applying for a bank loan using your identity, or creating a bank account on your name, getting a credit card on your name, using all the details, your Aadhaar card, voter card, or a license, whatever you had. It can be stolen and it can be used for getting a credit card and using it in a fraudulent way. So that is coming under identity theft. The third kind of cybercrime is cyber terrorism. The word itself says terrorism. So it is an act against the government. So some examples can be hacking into their missile systems and launching a missile. So that is terrorism. And not only that, sending a mail to the governor saying that you have planted a bomb in his office, that's going to be acting against the interest of the nation or the society, comes under cyber terrorism. Or giving hate speeches over the internet and creating tension between various communities can also be considered as cyber terrorism. And the fourth kind of cybercrime is cyber stalking, a very interesting thing. So how this happens is a stalker gets to know the social media profiles of his victim. Say now you have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatnot. Every day we have something coming up, and we have also LinkedIn. A stalker can really visit all these profiles and gather a lot of information about the victim. Say you can very well know the places the victim frequently visits, the food items the victim likes, or it can be the family members of the victim, the friends of the victim, or the discussions and the kind of posts that a victim makes on his social media profile. So everything can be well mapped out by the stalker, and then you might be even knowing wherein you visit during the weekends frequently, and that kind of an information is very crucial for the stalker to cause a lot of damage. So that's why you have to be very careful when you're publishing things or when you're making your profile public in a social media platform. You should not allow others to even view your profile if they are not really confidential to you. So cyber stalking is another major problem, and with youngsters we are facing a lot of issues, a lot of cases being reported on a daily basis, and it has become a huge problem. Defamation. Defamation is also a cyber crime. Just like that, writing something about someone on a social media platform or publishing a video, defaming a person. So this is not so serious unless the person who is being defamed files a complaint. So if you're going to talk something ill about a politician or someone who is popular, definitely you're going to be behind bars. And say if you're going to talk something ill about your colleague, nothing seriously happens unless and until he files a complaint with a proof for that. So defamation, you should not be in an urge to defame anyone on a social media platform or on the internet. That itself is considered as a criminal activity. The next kind of cybercrime is intellectual property crime. We all are cyber criminals by some way or the other. We steal others' work. So that is like stealing project works or downloading music for which you don't have the copyright or the permission, downloading movies. So all these things, piracy, this is called intellectual property crime. Utilizing or using something for which you don't have the permission to use. So what we do, we just download the project that was coded by someone else and submit that with by just changing the name and say that this is the code that I have written. So it's so common. We don't even think twice before doing that, but that is considered to be a cyber crime. So never use for items for which you don't have copyright or permission. Violation of privacy. This is another cyber crime. What is violation of privacy? Taking pictures of a person without his permission and publishing it on the internet is violation of privacy. Or else getting the address, phone number, or some private information of the users and making it public without their consent is called violation of privacy, and that is also considered to be a cybercrime. You should not use the data of others in a platform wherein they have not given their consent. We still have more cybercrimes here. Receipt of stolen property. Say you received the stolen data from an hacker You receive a stolen laptop, you receive a pen drive containing confidential information that was stolen from a government database, then that is receipt of stolen property. Again, that is cybercrime and it's a criminal activity. The next very important thing is we have to understand this: publishing or transmitting obscene material. So possessing, publication of any obscene material, it can be a painting or a drawing or a video or an image, is considered to be a cybercrime. And when it is involving children, it's going to be a more severe crime in India. And spamming is sending a lot of emails and spamming the mailboxes. It's also a cybercrime. Spreading virus, writing viruses, or intentionally spreading viruses to cause harm, that is called a cybercrime. Denying access to an authorized person. So this is denial of service attacks, and you can block the system and you can also deny the access to an authorized person. Damaging computers and disrupting networks, it comes under cybercrime. And the final one is selling illegal items online. So you should not sell what is not allowed in a particular country. Say selling drugs online is going to be a serious issue in India. So you should not use the technology for selling any illegal items. So according to the Wildlife Protection Act, you should not be selling all endangered species online. So if you're going to follow or perform that, then it's considered to be a criminal activity and you will be booked for that. So we have seen some of the categories, or we have classified cyber crimes under these categories. The next thing that we have to understand is what are the cyber laws in India? When a law was enacted that is related to cyber crimes, and this act, the Information Technology Act, was enacted in 2000. It was granted the President assent on 9th June and was made effective from 17th October 2000. So in the year 2000, we had this Information Technology Act, and that focused on these areas: legal recognition of electronic documents, legal recognition of digital signatures, offences and contraventions, justice dispensation systems for cybercrime. So that is the first initiative wherein we brought an Information Technology Act in 2000, in the year 2000, and we focused mainly on these areas. And this act was prone to debates, and after that a lot of debate and feedback, this act was amended in 2008. This is the Information Technology Amendment Act, ITAA, and this act has got 13 chapters and 90 sections, and this is focusing on all these areas: data privacy, information security, and digital signature technology. Defining reasonable security practices: what security practices a corporate which is holding data of its customers should follow. And we also had other things, having a computer emergency response team, and also identifying roles on who can investigate the cyber offenses. And also it had some more inclusions with respect to child pornography and cyber terrorism. So they came out with amendments that really came out with stricter laws on these areas. So that's about the Information Technology Act. So we're going to look at the various sections in this act that comes out with the punishments for certain cyber crimes. We'll be taking a look at hacking and data theft first. So we know what is hacking and data theft. The definition is given here. Data theft involves stealing data and also introducing and spreading viruses through computer networks, that comes under hacking. Damaging computers or computer networks, again comes under hacking. Disrupting any computer or computer system or network. Denying an authorized person access to a computer or computer network. So we just log in and change the password of the authorized person and we deny the access. That also comes under hacking. Or damaging or destroying information residing in a computer. So you hack and you delete, destroy, or damage to something. So all these comes under hacking and data theft. So for such actions, the IT Amendment Act, sections 43 and 66 of the Act penalize that. So what is the punishment we are going to give? Is a maximum punishment for the above offences is an imprisonment of up to 3 years or a fine of 5 lakh rupees. It can be either this or that or both. So you'll be jailed for a maximum of 3 years and get a fine for 5 lakh rupees. So this is related with hacking, data theft, damaging the computer, or denying access to the authorized persons. So this is clearly mentioned in the sections 43 and 66 of the IT Act. The next section, section 66B of the IT Act, is all about a receipt of stolen property. So I told you what is receipt of stolen property: dishonestly receiving any stolen computer resource or communication device. So if you're going to get stolen property, what is the punishment that you'll be facing is, according to 66B of this act, the punishment is an imprisonment of up to 3 years or a fine of up to rupees 1 lakh or both. So this is defined in section 66B of the IT Act. Section 66C of the IT Act defines the punishment for identity theft. So what is identity theft? Fraudulently using the electronic signature or any unique identification of another person. So it can be a password, it can be his Aadhaar details, voter ID details, or driving license details. You can use that, and if someone else is stealing that and using it for creating a bank account or getting a credit card or doing something, stealing the identity of another person is punishable according to section 66C of the IT Act. And what it says is, the imprisonment will be for a maximum duration of 3 years, and a fine of 1 lakh rupees also be given. So that is the IT Act section 66C. That is the punishment defined in this particular section for identity theft. Again, the IT Act in section 67, 67A and 67B defines the punishment for possessing or circulating obscene materials. So 67, according to the section 67, what it says is imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and a fine of 5 lakh rupees. So that is according to the section 67. And according to section 67A, the imprisonment goes up to 5 years, and then it accompanies a fine which may extend up to 10 lakh rupees. So 67B is more focused on child related obscenity. So if any person is going to circulate any material that contains images of child or video or painting or drawings, anything that is related to a child, here a child is someone who is less than 18 years of age, then 67B was amended in the IT Act. So this is a section that came as an amendment, and it says imprisonment of up to 5 years and a fine of 10 lakh rupees. The first time he is caught. The next time the imprisonment goes up to 7 years and a fine of up to 10 lakh rupees. So this act is very severe. Even browsing, downloading, possessing any such material, and when it is being reported and caught, you're going to face such a punishment. So violation of privacy. So we have discussed what is violation of privacy. According to section 66E of the IT Amendment Act, it has defined the punishment. The punishment is it's going to be an imprisonment of up to 3 years or with a fine here 2 lakh rupees. So it can be imprisonment or a fine or both. So what is violation of privacy act? It's intentionally or unintentionally or knowingly captures, publishes and transmits image of any person without his or her consent under circumstances violating the privacy of that person. So this act says that any person who intentionally or knowingly captures the image of a person and publishes it is punishable under section 66E of the act. Cyber terrorism 66F, section 66F details the punishment for cyber terrorism. So who is a cyber terrorist? Who threatens the unity, integrity, security or sovereignty of India, or strike terror in the people or any section of the people. So what are cyber terrorists? What comes under cyber terrorism? It is like introduction of any computer contaminant like viruses, worms or anything that destroys a government database. So that comes under cyber terrorism. So it has been mentioned here in detail. So again, cyber terrorism is being explained here. So it's very simple. If you're going to play with some government database and thereby you're going to play with the relationships that our country has with any other country, say for instance, an hacker launching a missile can really create tensions between two neighboring nations. So such kind of acts are coming under cyber terrorism. Not only that, hacking into a government system, contaminating it, stealing confidential data, or doing anything against the society or the government of India is going to be coming under cyber terrorism. And cyber terrorism is detailed in section 66F of the IT Act, and the punishment is very severe. It may extend to imprisonment for life. So that is where we have to be very cautious, when you're scanning or when you're doing any kind of ethical hacking. As I told you, we should be doing anything in a controlled environment. It's not something that we play with. So if you are going to, by mistake, do something to a government database and then you're caught, definitely you're going to be behind bars for a long time. And then this is a very interesting section, section 69 of the Act. What this Act says is the government agencies are empowered to intercept, monitor, decrypt any information generated, transmitted, received, or stored in any computer resource. So if the government wants, it can intercept, monitor, or decrypt any information stored in any computer or resource. So that's all about some of the cyber laws in India and the major cyber crimes. So if you are going to be part of some of the cyber crimes, I know that you might have now have an understanding of what kind of issues you may face. So it's very important that we understand all these cyber crimes and their classifications and the penalties that may arise if such cyber crimes are committed, so that whatever we learn, we use it for ethical purposes and we don't try it for any non-ethical purposes, even with our own colleagues or friends. In the next session, we'll be looking at what is social engineering. What is this social engineering and how social engineering attacks are performed and the classification of social engineering attacks.